Aspen Wolfie here, and on my Discord I asked if you wanted me to read scary stories that I found off of Reddit, and so far James is the only one who responded, and I was like, you know what, I really want to do this, and I doubt you guys will mind, and if you do, you won't watch the video, so yeah. But I found 3 stories. I didn't read them at all, they just kind of had interesting titles, so I was like, well, maybe. So I found 3 stories. One of them is a little bit longer, so I might not add it, and if I do, this video is probably going to be a little longer. And as you can see, I don't have on my pause today because of course I have to use my phone. So yeah, and bear with me if it takes me a little bit to read it because I have to hold my phone like right here. And also, I can't wear my glasses when I'm in my suit head, so yeah. So, but I will be putting pictures of the, what I'm reading on the screen. So yeah, enjoy that. So I'll scoot over a little bit so that like it's not blocking me at all when I put it up right here. So here is our first story. It is called, Did You Lock the Door? At the end of a long day, my wife and I lay in bed together. We were staying in a wonderful Airbnb that my wife had found in Brussels. The building was ancient, but the owner had done their best to... No, it does say owner. Okay, that's weird. I'm sorry. Like, I'm having a hard time. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna read like this. Don't judge me. The building was ancient, but the owner had done their best to add modern touches. I reached over to turn off the lamp, and when we were in total darkness, my wife dropped an all too familiar question on me. Did you lock the door? She asked. I hesitated. Even in the darkness, I could feel she was unimpressed with my lack of an immediate response. As I saw it, I had 2 choices. Either get up and go all the way to the front door, only to find out it is in fact locked, or rest assured that in the fact that I did lock the front door and get some sleep. Well, is it locked? My wife demanded. Yes. Don't you remember me doing it? I answered quickly with some bass in my voice. I'm sorry. I know you forget sometimes, she says with a softness in her voice. Like, I'm sorry that I'm not, like, doing voices to this, but, most likely, if I ever do this again, I don't know if I'll wear my head or not. I have no clue. Like, I could also, do this. Just get out of the screen. Okay. Or do this, like, look out of his mouth. I'm sorry, I know, I'm not serious at all. I love you, honey. Good night. I move in and hold her tightly, kissing the back of her head and drifting off into a slumber. I awoke from my sleep to see my wife doing something at the other side of the room. She was being quiet, but I could see her figure. What are you doing, honey? My croaky voice inquired. She didn't answer, but instead came and leaned over me and gave me a kiss on the lips before going back to her business. I was so tired I quickly drifted back to sleep. The next morning, I woke up to see my wife doing the same. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I didn't understand that for a minute. I was like, she's looking at you standing across the room? Okay. The next morning, I woke up to see my wife doing the same. We smiled at one another. I attempted a smelly breath kiss, but was rebuffed. We got up and went to the bathroom. I followed. We brushed our teeth and got back into bed to check our social media. How did you sleep, honey? I asked. Better than you did, she replied. What do you mean? I said with a puzzled look on my face. You were wandering around the apartment last night. I asked you to come to bed, but you just gave me a kiss and kept going on about your business, she said with not a care in the world as she looked back down at her page. our room last night. I quickly ran around checking for our passports and money. Everything was still there. I laid back in bed with a sick feeling in my stomach. Not knowing what to do, I write this down as a warning to everyone. Always make sure your doors are locked before going to bed. Update. Today my wife was going through her phone and found a picture of her sleeping. I lied and told her I took it thinking she looked sexy, but was not impressed, but that is better than the truth. I don't know why they did it, but they took a small hand... Wait, okay, sorry. I can't read very good out of this side. I don't know why they did it, why they took several of our socks, but no money. Why they put a small handmade doll in my luggage. All I know is I hope my wife doesn't find out the truth. Okay, so not super creepy, just kind of a little... You're gonna get a little worried at night now, like, oh crap, did I lock the door? But, yeah, I think it's kind of weird they only took socks. Maybe they were making a voodoo doll. Because, like, they left... I know, you're probably like, do you believe in that crap? Not really. Like, yeah, no. But it's like, who knows? Because if you've ever seen stuff about making voodoo dolls or anything, you need something that belongs to them. So like taking socks, you could also make a doll out of socks. And then leaving like the small doll in the luggage. You know? Yeah, I don't know. I'm just guessing. Like, and then like, I don't see why they took the random picture. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Just a random picture, not even on their own phone. I don't know. But yeah, that's the first story, so not really scary. Most likely if I ever do this again, which 9 out of 10 chance I might. I'll try to see if I can find like really kind of scary stories, but I wanted to like show my first kind of initial thoughts with this instead of restating what I already thought because I already read them. So yeah, just post anything in the comments about how I can make this better, more interesting. Okay, so this is our second story. It is called My First Hand Account of Something I Can't Explain. Okay, is it okay if I take off my head? So like, I cannot read. I'll sit here like this. Like with this in front of my face. There you go. Hi. Okay. Hello. Like how do other like furry YouTubers do this? Well, probably because they can put their glasses in their head or they have contacts, and I don't have contacts. So yay. Ha ha ha. I'll try. I also have a weird little puppet over here. If you want me to like use that. I have no clue why I have this. I got it when I was like 4. Okay, now then, the second story. My first-hand account of something I can't explain. It was the summer of 2008, I think, and it was bright midday around noon. It said 12 p.m.? But I'm trying to think if that would be noon or like midnight. I can't remember. Okay. And sorry if my voice is muffled a little bit now because I kind of have my head sideways in the head so that I can like see a little better out of the eye. Okay. I was 9 years old, so I'm not asking you to believe me, and please don't be skeptical as you rationally should be of eyewitness testimony. I remember this clear as day though. I just got out of the shower with a towel around my waist going to my bedroom, which I shared with my parents. I vaguely remember being excited and happy for some reason, and just trying to get dressed as fast as possible to go watch TV. As I got to the bathroom, I turned on the lights. Pretty much as soon as I started looking for clothes, I could feel the bed behind me rumbling very slightly. I didn't think much of it since there was no one in the room and continued changing in my happy mood. I chose my clothes very bad grammar in this one. Pretty much as soon as I started looking for clothes, I vaguely remember I turned on the lights. Pretty much as soon as I started looking for clothes, I could feel the bed behind me rumbling very slightly. I didn't think much of it since there was no one in the room, and continued changing in my happy mood. I chose my clothes, and I started wearing my shorts, and the rumbling got worse and worse, to the point where I couldn't ignore it anymore. I felt like it was specifically coming from the underneath of my parents' bed. Soon as I wore my shorts, I turned to see what is with the soon as I wore my shorts? Soon as I put on my shorts? What? Okay. I put on my shorts. I turned to see what was going on, and it was just that. My parents' bed was inexplicably shaking. I was just watching it, trying to figure out why. This went on for about 10 seconds, and then I began getting worried. I had never experienced an earthquake at that point in time, so I had nothing to compare this to. But this didn't feel normal, it was just the bed shaking. This is where things start getting real. From underneath my parents' bed came out a weird figure that was humanoid shaped and completely black. I'm talking the blackest thing you can imagine. It came crawling out from the side of the bed and kind of stood up with its back bent a little. Its side facing me. It looked like a 2D object right in front of me, about 2 meters away. This thing turned its head around the floors of the room, back and forth, kind of like it was looking around where it spawned, but completely oblivious of my presence. Finally, after about 3 seconds, it froze completely still and turned its head towards me, with white reddish eyes wide open. It almost seemed more surprised to me than I was of it. After about a second of solid eye contact, it completely disappeared, vanished in thin air right in front of me, literally like it was erased from reality. Boy, I had my t-shirt in my hand and ran out. Okay, so since I don't have to worry about demonetization, I get to cuss. Boy, I had my t-shirt in my hand and ran out that bitch as fast as I could, straight to my mom, who was in another room talking with a neighbor. Told her what happened, and as I insisted what I saw wasn't my cat, who isn't black by the way, she went in to investigate and came back to tell me there was nothing, and I probably imagined things. This was far from the only creepy thing that happened in our house, as many of our guests and close friends that slept over tell us that they feel a presence in our house the first night, but my story is the craziest. I was religious at the time, so I thought this was a demon and gave myself courage by saying Jesus was gonna protect. He protect. Thinking about it now, if we assume no supernatural, then it was most likely, okay. I think it's trying to say if we assume that, like, nothing is supernatural, everything's, like, real. It was most likely a crazy hallucination, and since it was eyewitness testimony, plus I was 9, it can't be conclusive to anything, but just thinking about it in a scientific way, without presuming brain fart, then my best guess is I saw a fourth dimensional being crossing over our world, as it would explain how it vanished immediately. So, like, thoughts on this? I think maybe he was, like, imagining things, cause, you know, when you're younger, you imagine, like, everything, you know? Like, you can pretty much make this whole world in your head. Like, if you've seen Bridge to Terabithia, you know, they pretty much did exactly that. Made, like, this whole world in their head that, you know, they could see but nobody else could, you know? So it could totally be that, or if you do believe in the fourth world parallel universe thing, it could be that as well. Who knows? But I don't know. It could have been a supernatural being. Who knows? So, our third and final story, the long one. I know, like, I don't have a lot of reactions to these, cause like, well, what am I supposed to react with, you know? Like, it's not like, oh my god! So, yeah, I don't know. So, sorry if I'm kind of just monotone through the whole thing. So, yeah, but most of it, it's kind of like I'm a little skeptical on if it actually happened or anything. So it's not like I can really react like, holy crap, I would have crapped my pants. Like, right? Because it's like, I don't know. And saying that he was 9 and that when you're younger, you can just imagine, like, anything into reality. You know, it could have been that. So, it's like, I don't know. So, now on to our third and final story. This will scare the living shit out of you. This is a 1000% real story. Warning, you will definitely have nightmares after reading. This happened almost 10 years ago now. I was in high school, the summer before my senior year. I was your typical angsty teen who couldn't wait to get out of the burbs and go to college. I got a job at the big movie theater in my town. It wasn't too bad. I sold tickets or manned the concession stand. The best part of the job was getting to see all of the movies for free. I would come in even in my days off and see whatever was playing. I didn't have many friends back then, so this was a great way for me to kill time and not focus on my lack of social life. Like, yeah, I might get a job at the movie theater now. Like, I want to see so many movies that come out, but, like, I can't afford it, so I don't know my job. Like, can you really do that, though? Like, see free movies? Because I know, like, if you're security, you can go in there. So it's like, I'm gonna go get a job application real quick. Okay, yeah, I know. My jokes are horrible. I worked the early shift on most weekdays and got to know the maintenance or the matinee. Okay. I wanted to say manatee, but I'm like, that's not how you spell manatee. Got to know the matinee crowd. Mostly it was older folks who complained about the stale popcorn. Pro tip, don't order popcorn in the morning. It's from last night. Yeah, good tip. But like, if it's from like, okay, how do you keep, oh my god. I've tried eating like night-old popcorn before and it is not good, so yeah. It was during one of these shifts I first met Brian. He stood out from the usual crowd because he was younger, maybe late 30s, and handsome. He came several times a week and saw almost as many movies as me, always carrying some sketch pad into the theater with him. He was always friendly with me. After one of my shifts, I popped into a theater to catch the second half of some CGI movie. On my way out, I ran into Brian. He asked what I thought of the movie and we started talking. After maybe 10 minutes of conversation, I asked about the sketch pad. He told me he was an illustrator of children's books and he was taking some time off between projects. He came to the movies for inspiration. I asked to see some of his work, and he nervously showed me what he had sketched during this movie. They were hysterical. He put the cartoon characters in bizarre and dark situations. I told him I loved them, and he said he would show me more. Wait, is this kind of like those, there's lots of YouTube videos on them, I love watching them, but it's like a dark twist on children's coloring books. Like, you know, adults color children coloring books and make them like really, really dark. Terrible at explaining, but if you watch them or know of them, then you know what I'm talking about. From then on, Brian came in more often. Seeing him was the best part of my shift. I would tell him what movie to see and ask for specific drawings. The darker the better. My favorite one had the rat from Ratatouille cooking his human friend and serving him to guests. I could tell he loved showing them to me. Okay, like, I want to see this. I'm sorry, I love dark drawing. But, like, nobody knows Linguini's name. Like, everybody's like, oh yeah, Remy from Ratatouille, but, like, what's the human's name? It's like, it's Linguini. He's named after food. I'm sorry. I know my Italian food. Not really. I just remember his name. From then, wait, I already read that. Ha ha ha. I know our friendship could sound sketchy, what with him being an ordinary guy and me a high school student, but I really felt like we were just two awkward people that clicked. He treated me like an adult and never did anything inappropriate. One day, towards the end of the summer, Brian came in when I was working the evening shift. We were really busy, so I didn't get to talk to him much before he went into his movie. A group of girls from my high school came up to the concessions. Their leader was Michelle. She was the most popular, pretty, athletic, etc. girl in school. On top of all that, she was really nice. I hated her at the time. Oh, she was really nice, but I hated her. Oh, this person like clicks with me, man. I hated her at the time, but looking back, it was obviously just jealousy. I don't blame anyone for not wanting to be friends with me, giving my shitty attitude. When they came to the counter, I panicked and hid. I called over my coworker, and he took care of them. Later on, Brian came to see me after the movie got out. He said he saw me run away from those girls. I was so embarrassed that he saw that. I panicked and made up an excuse. Those are just the mean girls at school. They try to make my life hell. I don't really care. I just didn't want to deal with it today. I lied. Brian got a very serious look, more serious than I had ever seen before, and told me, don't worry, boys always get what's coming to them. Oh my god, is Brian going to kill these girls? Oh my god. This is why we don't talk to weirdos, okay? Yeah. And I'm sorry if my hair looks like crap. Like, yeah, it's the weekend. I don't wash it. Brian didn't come around over the next few days, and I was a bit relieved because of how stupid I acted the last time. One evening, I came home from work, and Mom told me I received a large letter, probably an information packet from a college. I opened it up and found a sketchbook, immediately recognizing it as the same type Brian always carries. Before I opened it, I started thinking how weird this was. How does he know where I live? If he wanted to show me his drawings, why not just do it in person like always? I flipped to the first page, which had the words, an invitation. I can't read, I'm sorry. In big fancy font. The next page showed a young girl tied in a chair. It was Michelle. She looked terrified. All of Brian's drawings, even the most gory ones, were whimsical and cartoonish. This was photorealistic. Two dark figures in masks approached her. They pulled out two knives, and I couldn't keep turning the pages. It was stomach churning. Did he think that this I would like? Okay. Did he think I would like this? Is this a joke? I forced myself to keep reading, looking for answers, until I reached the horrible end after Michelle was long since dead. The two figures removed their masks and were revealed to be me and Brian. The last page just said RSVP soon. I didn't know what to do, so I did nothing. The next day, I tore up the book and threw it out in the dumpster outside the theater and went to work like nothing had happened. I waited in dread that day for Brian to come in, but he never did. The next week, I was working the ticket counter and saw him approaching the parking lot. I froze. Before he opened the door, he stared at me. I was petrified and felt all the blood draining from my face. After what felt like minutes, he shook his head, turned around, and walked away. I never saw him again. Well, like, oh my god! They should have put a note, like, the girl showed up at school or something. Like, holy crap! That is freaking creepy! Oh, this is like something you'll freaking see on the dark web. God. Okay, so I think that was a good leaving story. Okay. Or ending story. So, yeah, that's... Oh my god. I would have, like, quit my job. I would have never gone back out in public. Like, holy crap. I would have stayed home for the rest of my life. I would have been like, hey mom, I got the random urge to move halfway across the country, wanna go? Like, oh my god. Oh, that's definitely like the creepiest freaking story I've ever heard. So, yeah. Hopefully you guys like this, because I most likely will do it again, because that was kind of fun. I love reading scary stories, and, you know, I generally always just kind of talk to myself, because I'm lonely AF, and react to them, but it's kind of nice talking to a camera, still talking to myself, but there's a camera here now, so yay! So, yeah, I guess this is goodbye!